One day, Mr. Gruber decided to take Paddington on a mystery outing. He gave him a bar of chocolate for his lunch, and they set out early in order to avoid the crowds. Paddington liked outings with Mr. Gruber, and to have a mystery thrown in as well seemed very good value indeed. "Wait until you get inside," said Mr. Gruber. "You're in for a surprise." Paddington grew more and more mystified. The building seemed to be full of people in strange clothes, standing about doing nothing. "I shan't be a moment, Mr. Gruber," he called. "I just want to buy some souvenirs." He hurried over to a nearby kiosk and raised his hat politely, several times, to the lady behind the counter. But for some strange reason, she didn't reply. "Excuse me," he announced. "I'd like 3 large postcards, please. One for my scrapbook, one for Aunt Lucy, and one for Mr. Gruber." "I don't think you're going to be very lucky. I think she's made of wax, Mr. Brown." "Made of wax?" exclaimed Paddington. He gave the lady a hard stare. "I've never heard of anyone being made of wax before." "You'll find a lot of people like that in here, Mr. Brown. Most of them aren't real at all. It's what's known as a Waxworks museum." Mr. Gruber went off to buy some tickets, and after he'd gone, Paddington gazed round the hall. Apart from having no souvenirs, his chocolate was beginning to melt. Not wishing to offend his friend, he looked for somewhere to deposit it. And nearby, he thought he saw the very thing.
"Here," said the attendant. "What do you think you're doing? That's my ticket box. It's not for the likes of young bears to drop their remains in."
"I'm very sorry," exclaimed Paddington. "I thought you were a Waxworks like everyone else."
"Waxworks? I'll give you Waxworks. Come back here."
But Paddington was already making good his escape. Hurrying down some stairs, as fast as his legs would carry him, he found himself in another large room, full of figures. Worse still, he could hear the sound of voices getting nearer and nearer. And he decided there was only one thing for it. He would have to become a Waxworks himself.
"And this group," said a voice, "represents England at the time of Charles I. In the middle is Oliver Cromwell, about to join the Ironsides."
"If that's Oliver Cromwell," said a woman, "then aim the Queen of Sheba."
"Besides, they never wore duffel coats in them days,"
agreed a man.
"Horrible," complained another woman.
"Don't look, Deirdre."
"I don't know," said her husband. "Horrible it may be, but fancy making all them whiskers out of wax."
"Oh!" shrieked Deirdre. "I'm sure I saw his nose move." "There you are. I told you so. He's done it again." Paddington decided he was fed up. Apart from an itchy nose, he was beginning to wish he'd picked an easier pose. And he felt hungry. "I'm not Oliver Cromwell about to join the Ironsides," he announced. "I'm Paddington Bear, and I'm about to feed my insides. Good afternoon."
"I doubt if even Oliver Cromwell could have made a better exit than that," said Mr. Gruber later that day. "And he couldn't have surprised his audience more. It's in all the evening papers. Waxworks Museum latest, Chamber of Horrors mystery deepens." Lots of people go on mystery outings, Mr. Brown, but not many can say they've actually taken part in one. Paddington considered the matter. Although he hadn't managed to buy any postcards, he felt sure the newspaper cuttings would look very good in his scrapbook. "All the same, I'm glad I didn't live in Mr. Cromwell's time," he announced. "It must have been difficult drinking cocoa in a helmet." And I'm sure he never went on such nice outings.